Hey guys, surprise, surprise. This is Mr. Oxy coming at you live from Palm Beach. It is November the 4th. It is Thursday. And as you know, a few hours ago, by the time you watch this, Occidental reported their third quarter earnings for 2021. Man, what a quarter. That was good stuff, man. It was really good news. In fact, it was the best news we had since last quarter. And last quarter was probably the best news we had since the one before that. So things are on the up and things are looking better. What I'm going to do here is just share a little bit of news with you. We're going to do a short review on Oxy, because really what I'd like to do is wait until tomorrow when we have the conference call, which is at Eastern time, 1 p.m. Friday, November the 5th. And then we can dive a little deeper into the balance sheet and also into the quarterly results. We can compare the 9 months so far year to date with the 9 months previous year, which might be a little bit redundant from the point of view that we were struggling through COVID at that time. And obviously all the numbers were just messed up. But what I wanted to do was just go through this briefly and let's take a walk through and just see sort of what the highlights reels are. But the first thing I want to do is just give a shout out to Yidi Zhang. Dr. Zhang is a smart guy. You know, he wrote, this is 3 weeks ago. He said, I like your recent long position of Oxy. I don't know if you guys will recall, but a few weeks ago, when Oxy was trading at around $33, I actually mentioned that I had added to my position. And I added quite a chunk, you know, so I was confident enough to add Oxy when it was trading at $33. After that, it took a bit of a dip. As is usually the case, as soon as I buy something, it drops. But anyway, it's recovered, and my cost basis right now is pretty decent. I think my current cost base is only about $17 or so, including the multiple buys I've done since my cost basis, believe it or not, was $11. But look at Yidi Zhang's prediction here. He says, what is your estimate for revenue, EPS, and free cash flow? Now, we talked about this quite a bit. And in a previous video, in fact, in a couple of previous videos, I said, I think we're going to see revenue of around $7 billion. And then I walked it back just a little bit, because when I looked at the WTI numbers for the previous quarter, they weren't in the numbers average per month were not in the sort of mid to high 70s. They were actually in the very low 70s. And the average for the middle of the quarter for the middle month was actually under $70. So I walked back that revenue target a little bit, but look at Dr. Zhang here, 6.8 billion in revenue and 80 cents earnings per share, free cash flow of 2.5. Damn, Dr. Zhang, you are good. So let's quickly see here how we did. So on slide number 4 in their conference call pitch deck, which they're going to use tomorrow, we can see that they have $2.3 billion in free cash flow for the quarter. That is phenomenal. And Dr. Zhang was a little bit overzealous in terms of his 2.5, but this is damn good. You know, 2.3, highest level of free cash flow this century, which is also interesting on its own, right? The company's 100 years old, so it's gone through, 400 quarters. Oil and gas, strong performance with operational performance with 1.16 million barrels per day. A $5.1 billion balance sheet improvement and a $2.1 billion cash balance. Only $0.7 billion, $700 million of 2022 debt remaining. That is a really good position to be in. So congratulations, Oxy, and congratulations all the Oxy longs. I do want to take you here into Twitter for a minute. Aldous Huxley, the infamous Aldous Huxley, whom you can follow on Twitter at Aldous Huxley 77. Said, Oxy, share buybacks before restoring the dividend, please. So let's take a quick look at that one so we can just speak to Aldous's request there as well. Slide number 19. Current focus is to maintain the production base and debt reduction. That's the near-term focus. In the medium term, so coming up soon, maybe 2022, a sustainable dividend and some growth capital. And longer term, Aldous, but we know things change, repurchase shares and retire the preferred equity. So that's kind of what the sort of more near-term plans are in terms of where we are today. So although as it looks like you are going to have to wait a little bit before Occidental retires enough debt to reintroduce not only a sustainable dividend, which you didn't ask for, but the repurchase shares is actually sitting in the longer term column. Quick highlights reel here from Occidental. This is from their website. Third quarter results. Cash flow from continuing operations is $2.9 billion and cash flow from continuing operations before working capital of $3 billion. Efficient deployment of capital spending of $656 million, resulting in free cash flow, excluding working capital, of $2.3 billion. Of course, we know about the sale of the assets in Ghana. In fact, I made a video on that one specifically. Repaid $4.3 billion of long-term debt and retired $750 million of interest rate swaps. Earnings per share of 65 cents diluted and adjusted earnings per share of 87 cents. Who saw that coming? Certainly not the 9 smart analysts that were covering Oxy leading to the Q3 results, and not even Mr. Oxy. My estimate was 66 cents. OxyChem generated record earnings and increased total year tax guidance to $1.4 billion. Exceeded production guidance midpoint by 15 million barrels of oil equivalent per day, despite the impact of Hurricane Ida, with production of 1.16 million barrels of oil equivalent from continuing operations. So guys, that is the highlights reel. So here's what we're going to do. It's only a few hours between now and 1 p.m. tomorrow. I'm going to listen to the conference call. I'm going to have an opportunity to have Rob, who's the CFO, and Vicky, who's the CEO, walk us through those slides. I'm going to listen to the analyst questions, see what they say, and then I'm going to dive into the balance sheet. And maybe by the weekend, I should be in a position to provide you with a little bit more of an eloquent review of the Q3 earnings and the status of Oxy from an investment point of view as we know it today. In between, though, many companies have reported, including some of my longs. Energy Transfer disappointed today. They also reported they actually exceeded the analyst expectations on revenue, but missed the EPS. So on earnings per share, the expectation or estimate was 25 cents. They came in at 20 cents, which is obviously a significant miss. There are a couple of things that I looked at on Energy Transfer, just very briefly looking at their website and looking at the balance sheet, which concerned me. And of course, most of you will know that I'm long Energy Transfer. I still believe it's very, very cheap, especially at $9 it's on sale. But I want to take a closer look at Energy Transfer. I'm probably going to make a video about Energy Transfer as well. And then what I want to do in addition, for the guys who are interested, I'm going to make a follow-up video on my uranium basket. But what I want to do in this particular instance is dive just a little bit deeper into the investment thesis, and specifically looking at supply and demand. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my basket of 5 uranium stocks, do a brief overview on that, just to compare and sort of see where they are. And then we're going to look at the actual global status of the supply and demand curve for uranium, and then figure out whether this is actually an investment thesis that makes sense or not. So Oxy is the priority. So first up will be Oxy on Friday, conference call. And then after that, I'll go into the balance sheet and see what's going on. I'll share it with you guys. And then in between, or maybe after that, I have some information ready on Energy Transfer, and I also have some information ready on uranium. So we'll take a look at that too. In the meantime, this is Mr. Oxy saying congratulations to all the Oxy longs. I hope you made lots of money, and you will make lots of money, and all strength and good luck. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.